The Law of Addition, Chapter 5. Leaders add value by serving others. In a world where many political leaders enjoy their power and prestige, and where CEOs of large corporations make astronomical incomes, work and live in luxury, and appear to be most concerned with what's in it for them, Jim Sinegal is an oddity. Sinegal is the co-founder and CEO of Costco, the fourth largest retailer in the United States, and the ninth largest in the world. He doesn't seem much interested in perks. He works in an unremarkable office comprised primarily of folding tables and chairs. If he invites someone to meet him at the corporate offices, he goes down to the lobby to meet his guest. He answers his own phone, and he takes a salary of only $350,000 a year, which puts him in the bottom 10% of CEOs of large corporations. Sinegal's path to corporate leadership wasn't typical either. He didn't attend an Ivy League school. He isn't a lawyer or a CPA. As a teenager, he thought of becoming a doctor, but his high school grades were less than stellar. So he went off to community college and earned an associate's degree. While he was attending San Diego State College, now a university, he helped a friend unload mattresses at a new local retail store called FedMart. That one day of work turned into a regular job. When he received a promotion, he discontinued his studies. He had found his career. In time, he had also found a mentor, Sol Price, FedMart's chairman. Under Price's guidance, Sinegal rose to the post of executive vice president for merchandising. Sinegal later helped Price found Price Club, and then went on to co-found Costco in 1983 with Jeffrey H. Brotman. The company's growth was rapid. Costco purchased and merged with Price Club 10 years later, adding profits by adding value. Retail experts give a lot of attention to Sinegal's formula of success. Offer a limited number of items, rely on high volume sales, keep costs as low as possible, and don't spend money on advertising. But there's something that separates him from the competitors who employ similar strategies. The way he treats his employees, he believes in paying his employees well and offering them good benefits packages. Costco employees are paid an average of 42% more than the company's chief rival, and Costco employees pay a fraction of the national average of healthcare. Sinegal believes that if you pay people well, you get good people and good productivity. You also get employee loyalty. Costco has by far the lowest employee turnover rate in all of retailing. But Sinegal's leadership style of adding value doesn't end with employee compensation. He goes out of his way to show Costco workers that he cares about them. He maintains an open-door policy with everyone. He wears an employee name tag, is on a first-name basis with everyone, and makes sure to visit every single Costco store at least once a year. No manager and no staff in any business feels very good if the boss is not interested enough to come to see them, says Sinegal. And when he shows up, his people are always glad to see him. The employees know that I want to say hello to them because I like them. Sinegal once flew from Texas to the San Francisco area when he heard that a Costco executive was hospitalized for emergency surgery. It came as no surprise to the executive. It was consistent with the way Sinegal always leads. Leadership lessons learned early. Sol Price, Sinegal's one-time mentor, says, Jim has done a very good job in balancing the interest of the shareholders, the employees, the customers, and the managers. Most companies tilt too much one way or another. Many of the lessons Sinegal learned from Price, who believed in treating people well and giving them credit. In a meeting at FedMart, Sinegal noted that a manager was quick to take the credit and to place blame on others, but Price saw through him. To teach us all a lesson, recalls Sinegal, Sol used a weekly meeting to purposely raise hell about something that was wrong in one of the stores. I wondered why he did it, but when he saw that this manager let 2 of his employees take the blame, he fired him within a week. It's improper for one person to take credit when it takes so many people to build a successful organization, asserts Cynical. When you try to be top dog, you don't create loyalty. If you can't give credit and take blame, you will drown in your inability to inspire. The only real criticism of Cynical comes from Wall Street. Analysts there believe that Cynical is too kind and generous to his people. They would like to see him pay employees less and squeeze them on more. But Cynical wouldn't think of it. He believes that if you treat the employees and customers right, profits will follow. On Wall Street, he observes, they're in the business of making money between now and next Thursday. I don't say that with any bitterness, but we can't take the view. We can't take that view. We want to build a company that will still be here 50 and 60 years from now. In a little box. It's improper for one person to take credit when it takes so many people to build a successful organization. Jim Sinegal. Others outside the organization appreciate his approach to business. Nell Minow, an expert on corporate governance, remarked, I would love to clone him. Of the 2,000 companies in our database, he has the single shortest CEO employment contract. It's less than a page long. And it's the only one which specifically says he can be, believe it or not, terminated for cause. When it comes down to it, Cynical is more focused on adding value to people when serving them than on serving himself or making himself richer with an exorbitant salary. He lives by the law of addition. I just think that if you're going to try to run an organization that's very cost conscious, then you can't have those disparities. Having an individual who is making 100 or 200 or 300 times more than the average person working on the floor is wrong. Cynical sums it up this way. This is not altruistic. This is good business. He could also say it's good leadership. Do motives matter? Why should leaders lead? When they do, what is their first responsibility? If you were to ask a lot of leaders, you might hear a variety of responses. You might hear that a leader's job is to be in charge, make the organization run smoothly, make money for shareholders, build a great company, make us better than the competition, and win. Does the leader's motive matter? Or is it simply getting the job done? That's important. What's the bottom line? I didn't give it much thought until the last 10 years. I vividly remember teaching leadership to a group of government officials in a developing nation a few years ago and teaching the leaders that leaders add value by serving others. I could see that many of the audience members looked very uncomfortable as I talked about it when I finished speaking and mentioned what I observed to one of my hosts. He said, "Yes, I'm sure they did look uncomfortable. What you have to realize is that probably more than half of those people killed someone to obtain their current position of power. I've seen and heard a lot of things around the world, but I must admit I was shocked. In that moment, I realized that I could not take for granted why leaders lead and how they go about doing it. Do the math. Many people view leadership the same way they view success, hoping to go as far as they can, to climb the ladder, to achieve the highest position possible of their talent, for their talent. But contrary to conventional thinking, I believe the bottom line in leadership isn't how far we advance ourselves, but how far we advance others. That is achieved by serving others and adding value to their lives. Box. The bottom line in leadership isn't how far we advance ourselves, but how far we advance others. The interaction between every leader and follower is a relationship, and all relationships either add to or subtract from a person's life. If you're a leader, then trust me, you're having either a positive or negative impact on the people you lead. How can you tell? There's one critical question. Are you making things better for the people who follow you? That's it. If you cannot answer with an unhesitant yes and give some evidence that backs it up, then you may very well be a subtractor. Often subtractors don't realize they're subtracting from others. I would say that 90% of all people who subtract from others do so unintentionally. They don't recognize their negative impact on others. And when a leader is a subtractor and doesn't change his ways, it's only a matter of time before his impact on others goes from a subtraction to division. In contrast, 90% of all people who add value to others do so intentionally. Why do I say that? Because human beings are naturally selfish. I'm selfish. Being an adder requires me to get out of my comfort zone every day and think about adding value to others. But that's what it takes to be a leader of whom others want to follow. Do that long enough, and you not only add value to others, you begin to multiply it. The people who make the greatest differences seem to understand this. If you think about some of the people who have won the Nobel Peace Prize, for example, Albert Schweitzer, Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, and Bishop Desmond Tutu, you see leaders who were less interested in their position and more interested in the positive impact on others. If you read their writings, or more important, study their lives, you notice that they wanted to make things better for others, to add value to people's lives. They didn't set out to receive the Nobel Prize. They desired to engage in noble service to their fellow human beings. A servant's mindset pervades their thinking. The 1952 prize winner, Albert Schweitzer, advised, "Seek always to do some good somewhere." Every man has to seek in his own way to realize his true worth. You must give some time to your fellow man, for remember, you don't live in a world all your own. Your brothers are here too. Adding value to others through service doesn't just benefit the people being served. It allows the leaders to experience the following: fulfillment in leading others, leadership with the right motives, the ability to perform significant acts as leader, the development of a leadership team, an attitude of service on a team. The best place for a leader isn't always the top position. It isn't the most prominent or powerful place. It's the place where he or she can serve the best and add the most value to other people. Albert Einstein, who was awarded the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1921, asserted, "Only a life lived in the service of others is worth living." Great leadership means great service. How do leaders serve their people? Jim Sinegal pays good wages and treats employees with respect. Martin Luther King Jr. marched for civil rights. Mother Teresa cared for the sick and established places where others could do the same. The specifics depend on the vision, the type of work, and the organization, but the intention is always the same: to add value. When you add value to people, you lift them up, help them advance, make them a part of something bigger than themselves, and assist them in becoming who they were made to be. Often, their leader is the only person able to help them do those things. Adding value changes lives. I have developed 4 guidelines to help me add value to others. 3 of them are fundamental and can be used by anyone desiring to practice the law of addition. The 4th is based on my faith. If that might offend you, or you don't have interest in that area, then simply skip it. 1. We add value to others when we truly value others. Darrell Hartley Leonard, who retired as chairman of the board of Hyatt Hotels Corporation and is currently chairman and chief executive officer of Production Group International, says, "When a person moves into a position of authority, he or she gives up the right to abuse people." I believe that is true, but that is only the beginning of good leadership. Effective leaders go beyond not harming others, and they intentionally help others. To do that, they must value people and demonstrate that they care in such a way that their followers know it. When a person moves into a position of authority, he or she gives up the right to abuse people. Darrell Hartley Leonard.